I'm about to share the exact formula for guaranteed success on YouTube. And that sounds like clickbait, but it's not because this formula is actually really hard to implement. So it's not like this is not clickbait, this is not BS. It actually works. And it actually works for anything in life. And how do I know this? Well, I've spent like the last 10 years nerding out about YouTube. I currently work with several YouTubers over 20 million subscribers and I help them grow. And all I think about all day is growing on YouTube. So I think I figured it out. And here's the formula for guaranteed success on YouTube. If you want to grow on YouTube and actually blow up, you only need to do two things. I know this really sounds like clickbait. Wait for it. You're going to be very disappointed because it's going to be really hard to implement. But it's true. It works in my opinion. The first part of the formula is you need to stick to something for forever, and the second part is you need to improve constantly. Those are the only two parts for guaranteed success. And so let me yap about that for a bit so we can kind of talk about it. There's a principle called the compound effect it's actually a book by Darren Hardy. His premise is simple. He says, I can beat you in anything you choose to challenge me on because I understand that if I stick at that thing for the rest of my life, I will naturally become very good at it. And this is the interesting thing about humans is that just by sticking to something, we can become extremely good at it, right? You take a guy who plays golf every single week because he loves it. If he does that his entire life, by the time he dies, he's going to be way better than a noob at golf, right? Even if he didn't take special classes or he doesn't try to improve or anything like that, just by sticking to that thing, he will be insanely good compared to a beginner. Warren Buffett also talks about this. He says you need to stay in the game long enough to eventually get lucky. Right? If you stick to your channel for just a month like most people do, you're never gonna have stayed in the game long enough to hit that point of getting lucky. But that's actually how success on YouTube usually works, is that if you are just consistent and you stay at it, eventually something happens and you get lucky and you blow up. And a great example of this is my buddy, my childhood friend. He hopped on YouTube and for a solid year he was posting and he got no success. Like I'm saying his videos were not pulling any views. I think the highest he was hitting is maybe 5K on a video. And near the end of posting, every, let's say, week for a year, it looked like he was going to give up. The uploads were coming out less and less often, and it seemed like he was getting a bit demoralized. And then he got lucky. What happened? YouTube rolled out shorts, short form content. And my buddy was the first guy in his niche to start making shorts for his niche, and he blew up. His channel blew up. It's at 300,000 subscribers now. He pulls 20 million views a month, and he crushed it. He has now a full-time career in YouTube. Now, imagine if he had posted for a week and then stopped, or a month and then stopped, or even 6 months and then stopped. YouTube Shorts would have rolled out 6 months later. He wouldn't have seen the update that it had dropped. He wouldn't have tested a couple videos on Shorts. That lucky moment would never have happened. So that's the first part of the formula. You need to stick to it for forever. And by forever, I just mean like when you start a channel, be committed that for the next 5 years, you're gonna stick to it. It's that simple. Don't expect to blow up right off the rip. The second factor is for guaranteed success, because just sticking in a niche for long enough doesn't mean you're gonna be successful. I mean, it raises the chances dramatically, but the second part is what, in my opinion, guarantees it. And I've seen this personally in my life a lot. And it's, you need to intentionally improve every time you make a video. And it sounds, maybe super simple, but it's really hard in practice to do because it requires you to zoom out, to stop working in your channel, stop editing videos, stop recording videos, and to zoom out and to study your content, study other people's content and be like, what are they doing better than me? What am I doing terribly? And that sucks. You don't feel like you're pushing your channel forward when you study your content. You feel like you got to be actually making content to push your channel forward. But this is one of the most important things you can do in your life, and honestly, anything, is just zoom out, take a step back, and study. Because the guy who studies every single day is going to beat the guy who's better than him and never studies. It might take a long time, but eventually, if you take somebody who's really, really good but doesn't improve, and somebody who's not that good but improves every single day, eventually that guy is going to surpass the first one. And so if you stick to your channel for forever and you improve constantly, eventually you will be successful. It's just a matter of time. That's the formula for success on social media. I hope that's helpful.